We begin tonight with some developing news, a new executive order aimed at athletes.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over.
President Trump signing a ban on transgender women competing in women's sports. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. The ban called Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports being signed only hours ago, and in that time, it's already causing an uproar. Channel 8's Jake Holman has been following this story. He joins us live now. Jake, what do we know?
Yeah, Rod, this executive order will be enforced through Title IX, the law that guarantees equal opportunities in educational for both men and women. Tonight, though, we're hearing from a trans athlete and also a professor in exercise science from University of Nebraska-at-Kearney.
Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
Transgender women no longer allowed to compete in women's sports if schools want to keep their federal funding. That's official after President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Wednesday, calling this day the end of the war against women's sports.
So we are restoring sanity and common sense very simply to our government. We're defending the rights and safety and pride of the American people, including our great, great, great female athletes. What athletes you are, too. Tell you.
The measure will affect all K through 12 schools and all U.S. colleges. It reignites a debate that's been going on for years.
There's no evidence that trans athletes have an advantage over anyone else in sports. Trans athletes play sports for the same reasons as anybody else.
I think this executive order really aligns with the intent and purpose of Title IX, which was to establish sports for female athletes.
Chris-Mosier, a trans athlete, says this order is attacking the trans community.
And every young person deserves that opportunity to be their authentic self and to play the sports that they love. And it goes to a bigger picture of not just impacting sports, but really impacting and thinking about trying to legislate away the trans community.
Meanwhile, Professor Gregory-Brown, who studies exercise science at the University of Nebraska-at-Kearney, says this is all about keeping women's sports fair.
So we take a lot of effort to try and make sports fair. And this really is common sense, and again, supported by science, that there are differences between males and females. And if we want girls and women, females, to have fair sports, we need to exclude male bodies from female sports.
Schools that don't comply with the order could lose their Title IX funding. According to the NSAA, which governs youth sports in Nebraska, says they will comply with any new state or federal law. Their policy already bases a player's sex on what's listed on their birth certificate. This issue was brought up last month at the state level in Nebraska when a similar bill was introduced in the legislature. Again, this new executive order from President Trump only applies to student athletes, those that are K through 12, and also, of course, all colleges across the country. But Trump has been putting pressure on the International Olympic Committee to adopt this same standard. For now, reporting live here in Lincoln, Jake Holman, Channel 8 News.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Governor Jim-Pillen at the White House today for the signing. Trump thanking him for being there. Pillen saying on social media, "We led in Nebraska by establishing a women's Bill of Rights which affirmed that men are men and women are women. And today I am honored to be at the White House with President Trump as he signs his No Men in Women's Sports executive order into federal law." Now to some breaking